This may be the reason why you are struggling to flip items. Flipping is all about inventory. If you can't turn over your inventory quickly enough, you're stuck with money that's invested and not recouped. So I want to give you a tool set which you can use before buying items to flip. That can help you determine which items are even worth buying, and by extent, if you can flip them quicker than others. This method especially works with items that have a lot of different SKUs. If there's a lot of different products within this niche, you will be able to use this method amazingly because there will be a lot of data to compare. However, even when there's not a lot of SKUs, I can show you how this is still useful for you. As someone who loves flipping, this has helped me a ton and leaves less time that I'm holding on to inventory, and then I can move on to more things with that money. So let's jump over to the computer so I can show you exactly what to do.
Okay, so welcome back. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the two tools that we're using. The names of them are simply Google Trends and then the Reddit keyword research tool by highervisibility.com. That's it. Both of them are free. Both of them are super accessible. So let's actually show you how to use them. So first of all, let's do the Reddit keyword research tool. Why? Well, this is how we find actual product names and can compare and contrast them. So let's start by saying you're flipping video games. I'm starting with this example because I personally have done it before. So I'm just going to go to the Nintendo Switch subreddit, or maybe the Nintendo one, because I feel like flipping Nintendo games is something that people are always interested in. So you just type the Nintendo subreddit and you say get keywords. So here you can find the actual games that people are mentioning in the Nintendo subreddit. So Super Mario Sunshine is first. Then you have best Wii games that we don't really care about, Super Mario games, so we know Super Mario games would sell. Sun and Moon, this is a Pokemon game. So you can see, for example, Sun and Moon, if you find a way to flip it, if you find maybe someone selling it on Facebook Marketplace for really cheaply, you can probably get Sun and Moon and get it off of your hands for more relatively quickly compared to maybe other games. Let's see what else you can find here. Super Mario RPG, of course, new Zelda game. So there's always interest. So just notice the keywords that are being mentioned. Notice the franchises that are being mentioned. Notice the products that are being mentioned. So don't get random games. For example, if you're flipping games, look at the top keywords here and you can get the context here. This is simply looking at this. So it's everything in the Nintendo subreddit that mentions Super Mario Sunshine. And a great way to validate it is simply look at the Google search here, go all the way down and see that there's 10 pages in Google that mention it. So that means there's conversation going on. If you want to filter it even further, you can go to Tools anytime and change it to the past year. Does it still have 10 pages? Well, it has 8. It's really close. So it's still being talked about plenty, actually. So that's good to know. You can do this even honestly with different subreddits. Let's do something that I'm not necessarily that familiar with flipping. Let's say you want to flip watches. So watches. And then here, you're getting the keywords for watches. So you have Sun and Moon, you have Kate Spade watch, Emporio Armani watches. Okay, perfect. So we have a lot of different watch brands here mentioned in the watches subreddit. So here is where our next tool, Google Trends, comes in to show. So let's say I am undecided. I see people that are selling certain kinds of watches. I maybe want to clean them up and flip them. Well, I want to see if I can get them out of my hands quicker or even sell them in the first place. So let's say we're here between Emporio Armani watches and Kate Spade watches, right? So let's go here. So let's go Emporio Armani watch. So here you're going to see Google Trends. Last day, let's move it to the past 5 years to see the overall interest in Emporio Armani. You see here, it's trending a little downwards, but it is steady for the most part. And you can compare that to a Kate Spade watch. So here you see, oh, well, all of a sudden, the Kate Spade watch is actually way more looked at than the Emporio Armani watch. So maybe you will be able to flip the Kate Spade watch quicker. However, notice that both of these are trending downwards over time, more or less. The Emporio Armani watch is maybe a little more stable, but it's not as transited. Let's compare the Kate Spade watch, which is more popular, to something like Omega watch. Granted, I do know Omega is one of the most prestigious watch brands, but look at the difference here, how Omega is one, more looked for, and two, its popularity is actually growing and compared to Kate Spade, which is shrinking. So what does this tell me? This tells me that if I were to find a good deal on an Omega watch, it would probably be way more interesting to me than a Kate Spade watch, for example. It doesn't mean you won't be able to sell the Kate Spade watch. At the end of the day, you may get super lucky and want someone or find someone who wants that exact item you're flipping immediately. But you are more likely to get the Omega watch at a better price and off your hands quicker. Of course, there's technicalities here. You still have to know your sector. You still have to know watches. You still have to know specific models. But you can put specific models here of Omega watches. So that's the great piece of this. And you can compare it to even more things. I mean, you can compare it to, let's just say, Swatch watch. And then all of a sudden, you have a third line of comparison here. So you can do this with basically as many products as you really want and just look at it over time. My suggestion is that you do the past 5 years and maybe the past 12 months if it's products that you think are really searched for. So let's look at the difference here. All of a sudden, yeah, that sounds about right. So then you still get that data for more recent stuff. You can filter by country, so it should be in every country. So for example, if you want to look at the UK instead of the US and the interest there, well, you see that it's the same story here, right? So yeah, so this is what I do to basically back my flipping decisions with data. First of all, as we said, what I told you is you're going to look at the Reddit keywords, and then once you look at the products that are being talked about specifically, you can go here. And in fact, just to show you something, you don't need to do this with things that have a lot of SKUs. Let's say you just flip furniture. So you go futon, and then you do love seats. So now you see that futons are way more popular being searched for than love seats. I actually don't know if love seat is just a US term. Let's look at the difference here in the US. Okay, they're a little closer here. You probably would be able to sell both, but maybe if you're looking at finding a futon that someone is selling for really cheap or for free versus a love seat, maybe it's more worth it to just grab a futon, clean it up really quick, and then sell it, right? So at the end of the day, everything is going to depend on the popularity of it, and hopefully it's trending upwards. And that's going to help you inform your flipping endeavors with actual data driven decision making with just these two simple tools.
And that's it. That's everything you have to do. What I talked about was looking at Reddit and other social media trends and also at Google Trends to compare different products to see which one is consistently more popular, and thus, instead of buying the less popular one, which would also in turn take longer to sell, you can just buy the most popular ones or the trending ones that you can flip even quicker. And it does work with broader categories, although the more specific you can be, even better. Of course, at the end of the day, if you find someone that wants a very niche product in your city, you can probably flip to them the next day. Some of this is based on luck, but hopefully data-driven decision making like this can just change the odds that little bit in your favor that it can help you flip a bunch of products even quicker. Happy flipping, and thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you want more content like this, and tell me, what do you flip and what's your experience been with it so far? Have a great one.